Hi, I'm Freeman, the storyteller and cultural integrator. Please, good morning to everyone, and may God bless you everywhere you are. Please, if you are here for the first time, do subscribe my YouTube page so I will be encouraged to do more videos. Well, we are here to encourage people to learn about African history, our heritage, or our culture. So, today, I'm going to tell you about my choice of the best African president in history who could also not achieve their full potential or aim. My first choice will be Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of Ghana who led Ghana through the independence struggle against the British colonial rule. Kwame Nkrumah was born on the 21st of September 1909 at Nkrofo, Western region part of Ghana. Kwame Nkrumah was a socialist, anti-colonialist, anti-imperialist. He was such a great figure and iconic for the African continent. He was also the founding father of Pan-Africanism. He was also the founding father of Organization for African Unity. So after Ghana got its independence, he said, and I quote, because he wanted Africa to be free. So he was still not happy with his work. So he said, the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent. The black man is capable of managing his own affairs. Such a great person. His vision was to have an Africa which is free from imperialists and anti-colonialists. So he did a lot of work. In Guinea, when he became or nominated by Sekou Touré, he also worked with Sekou Touré, the president of Guinea, a lot. So in 1972, Kwame Nkrumah passed away after a short illness and he died in Bucharest. Kwame Nkrumah remained a great child of Africa, a great father of Africa. He was also encouraged by George Padmore, Sekou Touré, Marcus Garvey, and all these great personalities. Nkrumah becomes my iconic #1 figure of the Africa president in history. So my second choice for the best African president in history, that will be Thomas Sankara, the president of Burkina Faso. Thomas Sankara, the president of Burkina Faso. So Thomas Sankara was born 21st of December 1949 in Yako, Burkina Faso. Thomas Sankara was a military socialist leader. When Sankara became the president of Burkina Faso, he changed the name Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, meaning the land of the upright man, or the land of the incorruptible people. Thomas Sankara is very an iconic figure and a legend. When he came to power, he tried to use his own people to plant their own food. He stopped all the importation of food coming to his country. He stopped the IMF and all this organization bringing aid and food to his country. And he stood for his people. He led the whole country to do sports so that the people from Burkina Faso will not get sick. So nationwide, he was organizing his people to do sports so that they can't get sick. He said, how can a country like Burkina Faso owns the World Bank so much money? So he stopped all the aid and everything coming to Burkina Faso, and he stood for his people, and he tried to build the country using only domestic goods. Such an iconic figure. He was being hated by the colonial masters, France. He fought for his own people. He said, and I quote, "If someone's feed you, he controls you." Sankara was such a great person, an iconic figure. In 1987, there was a military push by his own best friend, Blaise Compaoré. He was brutally assassinated during a meeting and killed. Thomas Sankara, name never dies. He was known for going to jogging without security. And he was being asked, why do you go to jogging without security guards? He said, because there are more than 7,000 Thomas Sankara around the country. So he goes alone everywhere. When he came to power, he led all his ministers to use a normal car. Thomas Sankara, have a small Peugeot which was being used daily. All his ministers didn't have a big car. They all have a small car. Thomas Sankara was a purely socialist, anti-colonialist, anti-imperialist. He wanted Africa to have a good future, and he was being hated by France. So after his assassination by his best friend, or the troops led by his best friend Blaise Compaoré led the country for so number of years, more than 2 decades. And Thomas Sankara is my second best African president in history. So my third choice for the best African president in history, that will be Patrice Lumumba. He was a prime minister for the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Patrice Lumumba. So Patrice Lumumba was born 2nd July 1925 in Katako in Congo. He was a great socialist leader. He was a nationalist, anti-colonialist, and anti-imperialist. He fought for his people. It was very hard for him because Belgium fought against him. So it was very, very hard for him. He fought for his people, and it was so sad time. He tried to do well for his country. He was a purely Pan-African. He was one of also the founding fathers of Pan-Africanism. And his ideologies were to have a Congo that is free from imperialist and anti-colonialist. So he went to the United Nations and begged for help in America and begged for help against the oppression of the Belgian people. He was being brutally assassinated by firing squad with 6 others. It was really sad for the Democratic Republic of Congo. Patrice Lumumba was such an iconic figure in the Congo. Belgium later, for a few years, pardoned for his assassination. He said, and I quote, Lumumba, it was a very good quote. He said, "A day will come, Africa will write its own history. It will be a history of glory and dignity. And it will not be a history from Brussels, Washington, and the United Nations, but they will teach African emancipation from colonialism and its puppets." So Patrice Lumumba was such a great person also. His assassination was very brutal. He remains my 3rd best African president in history who could not achieve his main potentials in history. So my 4th best African president in history, that will be Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was born on the 18th of July 1918 in Imvezo in South Africa. Nelson Mandela was anti-apartheid protester. He became the president of South Africa after 27 years of imprisonment. That was so sad for human history. So he wrote The Long Way to Freedom. Nelson Mandela is an iconic figure on the world stage, and he stood for his people. He was against anti-imperialist and anti-colonial rule in South Africa. So he fought for freedom in South Africa. His vision was to have a South Africa free from anti-colonialists. He was instrumental in tearing apart the apartheid system in South Africa. So he passed away 2013. Nelson Mandela was such an iconic figure. So he have a quote: "A winner is always a dreamer. Never give up." As our own light shine, it also give the chance for others to do the same as we liberate others. Nelson Mandela was such an iconic figure in the history of Africa. After 27 years of prison, he became the president of South Africa. So my 5th best African president will be Sekou Touré. Sekou Touré was a socialist leader who fought for the independence of Guinea-Conakry. He was born 9th January 1922 in Farana in Guinea. He was a nationalist African leader, a socialist, Pan-Africanist. He was a great man. He invited people like Kwame Nkrumah, Modibo Keita to form a union of Guinea, Ghana, Mali. Sekou Touré was a very great personality when it comes to Africa independence. He fought for freedom. The colony or the colonizers were against him, France, but he fought for his people on the world stage. He was being hated for. Sekou Touré said, and I quote, "We would like to live in poverty in freedom than riches in slavery." Sekou Touré, such an iconic figure and a member of the Pan-Africanist fathers. He was such a great person in the history of African president. So my sixth African best president in history, that will be Jomo Kenyatta. Jomo Kenyatta was the president of Kenya. Also such an iconic figure. He was Pan-African. He was against the anti-colonial oppression from Britain. He was anti-imperialist and anti-colonialist. He fought for the people of Kenya. He was being arrested for being part of the organizers by the Mau Mau uprising. Yeah, Jomo Kenyatta was a great person. He said, and I quote, "When the missionaries came to Africa, they teach us how to close our eyes during prayers. When we open our eyes, they have the land and we have the Bible." And he also said, "Our children may learn from the past heroes, but our task is to make ourselves the architects of the future." Jomo Kenyatta, such a great and iconic person. He was a very controversial figure and a Pan-Africanist. Jomo Kenyatta remains my sixth best African president in history. So my seventh best African president in history, the only person that could make it to the list, is the current president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame. He's the only person I will add to my list of my choice for the best African president in history. So Paul Kagame was a military leader and now a current president of Rwanda. He have stabilized the country and he have made Kigali the cleanest city in Africa. He is doing tremendously well and building his country. He teach the military how to be professional. So after a genocide that killed about 500 to 1 million civilians in his country. The whole country have come together and built one nation that all of them enjoys. The genocide in Rwanda was very brutal, but it has brought up a freedom for a country. Rwanda remains now the best African country in form of growth and in form of respect. Paul Kagame is my current African president that I will add to the list. Paul Kagame is working towards the future of Africa. He said, and I quote, "Listen more to the people that criticizes you and listen less to the people that praises you." Thank you so much. I am Freeman, the storyteller and cultural integrator. Please subscribe my YouTube page so I will inform you with more videos. Let us try and learn Africa, our heritage, and all our cultures. It is so important to also to pass it on to the children. Thank you so much. Freeman, the storyteller.